I was mostly thinking, I can barely walk in this dress,
Yeah.
let alone, I know Biminy's going to be jumping on the floor and standing on her head and,
Yeah.
Opening her legs nice and wide because she's a right slapper.
Hi, DJ, drag superstar, and all-round icon and humble human being, Jodie Harsh here. Welcome to Tea Time, Attitude Magazine's weekly show where I'll be spilling the freshly brewed tea with the latest eliminated queen from Drag Race UK Season 2. This week I'm joined by Mr. Joe Black. We are joined by Joe Black, Season 2's first out, but without doubt an extremely fierce British queen. You look amazing out of drag.
Thank you.
How is it looking after? How are you feeling?
Glenn Close but no cigar.
Yeah.
I stayed up very late because I got a little bit addicted to social media because the outpouring of love was incredible.
Yeah, who was your most epic comment from?
I mean, the Tracy Beaker one I got sent quite a lot.
Right, okay.
There were the actress Danny, what's her name, who plays Tracy Beaker.
Yeah.
She was very angry. Though I really enjoyed Violet Chachki putting up a picture of David Bowie in the Life on Mars video and then the inside of the pavilion and saying, "Make it make sense." And then tag the Drag Race account. Fuming, absolutely fuming. I stayed up very late being addicted to social media.
Have you always thought that you would compete, or was it sort of a snap decision last year?
I applied for season 1.
Yeah.
It was, like I said on the show, to a horror when we had that lovely moment at the workstation. I remember the moment that season 1's cast got announced. I was out in the in my gardeny bit with a cigarette and a coffee, scrolling, and then the first thing I see when I opened Facebook was Bag of Chips' face, right, with Meet the Queens, and I dropped my phone and went. Not because it was Bagger, it just meant, I mean, bless Bagger. Not because it was Bag of Chips' face, but because Drag Race UK was happening. It's been rumoured for years. I mean, you were in a lot of the rumours. It's Jodie Harsh and Jonathan Ross have rights to Drag Race UK, and that was
out of nowhere, randomly.
I applied for season 1, but I actually did. Which season of the US? I applied for one of the US seasons, just wondering what the process was like, and I think it might have been 10.
Okay.
But you can't work in the US, so you can do it.
And when you walked into the workroom for the first time, you knew a few of the queens. So was that sort of harder?
When I was, walked in, Glenn Close looks rough, I'm posing, and I heard, "Yes, bitch," and I'm trying to remain composed, but thinking, absolutely certain that's Ginny Lemon. I'm absolutely certain that's Ginny Lemon, while trying to pose and not be like, ah! I love Ginny so much, and then turning and seeing her outrageous yellow face.
Yes.
That was amazing. So it was. I'm not a particularly competitive person. That's the thing, which is hilarious considering I went on Drag Race. But I just looked around and I was like, wow, I like all these people.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what a nice time we're having.
And who do you think you'd have stayed closest to had you stayed in the show longer?
It's Lawrence was probably the person that I knew the most. Lawrence and Ginny were the people that I was most familiar with. And then after the show, I've got very close to Tia.
She's cool.
Really, really, I love Tia.
Yeah.
She's so silly. I haven't seen anyone's confessionals or anything. Right. So seeing everyone really shine in that and being hilarious.
And walking into the room as well, you were one of the most well-known queens entering the series. And so I guess a lot of the younger queens in the room admitted that they sort of look up to you.
Yeah, Ahura said that. That was beautiful.
Yeah. So then when you had to lip sync, how did that feel? What was that moment like?
I was mostly thinking, I can barely walk in this dress. let alone, I know Biminy's going to be jumping on the floor and standing on her head and, opening her legs nice and wide because she's a right slapper.
Yeah.
It was just like, you're wearing a 1700s inspired outfit and you have to lip sync to Frankie Goes to Hollywood. What has your life become?
Yeah. I noticed that social media really lit up last night with viewers fuming at the judges.
I was the #1 trending thing on Twitter.
Everyone was fuming. What would you say about the decision to go home first?
I mean, someone's got to go home first, haven't they?
Yeah.
But, you know, as sad as that is as a result, to go, oh my God, I'm the first out. Everyone remembers the first out.
I was going to say that, exactly. Yeah.
Everyone, you know, they don't necessarily remember the second or the third. Yeah. You know, even though they get more airtime. And it's also amazing to leave and people go, I don't want you to go, rather than overstaying your welcome.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I'd much rather leave and people be furious than me leave and people go, that was the right time.
I think there's a soft spot in everyone's hearts for the first one out as well.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. Are you a Brightonian? Is that how you say it?
I am. Yeah. I'm originally from Portsmouth.
Yeah.
So, in my native accent would be, I'm like a natural like Pompey lad.
Yeah. Was that down the docks?
Yeah, no, like down the docks. Yeah, like my dad sells like secondhand like videos and stuff and like bikes and things. This is my impression of my brother.
Right.
Yeah, originally from Portsmouth, but now I've lived in Brighton for nearly 10 years now.
Okay.
Because it's you know, sort of queertopia it is.
So what did you think about Liz Hurley's comment saying that your look was more Hampton Court than Brighton?
Well, yeah, she said it was when I was there. She said, what was it? You know, I always think of the Brighton Pavilion as Regency, which is all heaving Muslims place, isn't it? And then she said, "More, I like your Elizabethan rough." I'm sorry, I've made her sound like Boris Johnson.
Yeah, she does sound a bit doesn't she?
You're lovely Elizabethan rough. Go home, stay home, welcome home if you can. Elizabethan rough, Regency, heaving Muslims. No, it was. I mean, Liz Hurley's pretty camp, isn't she? I think she could have told me I was a piece of shit, and I would have gone, "Thanks, Liz."
Yeah.
in your camp, loved you and bedazzled.
Yeah. Now I've seen you perform many times, and you already have a fantastic career. So, how did it feel being judged by a panel of people after already having a long, successful drag career? Because you've been doing this for a long time,
13 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how did that feel being judged by?
Well, I just think like I'm not a particularly competitive person, but I knew I was going into a competition environment. So what I had said to myself, I was like, right, people are going to say things you don't agree with. They're going to say things that maybe upset you. This is what they do. They are the judging panel.
That's the show.
You are the contestant. This is the show. So just stand there, take anything constructive that you can take on board, be willing to listen. And I was fully ready for that, you know. But also, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing something. I think if you are not open to learning new things, you're absolutely doomed. Do you know what I mean? That's how you get left behind. I mean, you must know this. You know, the sort of nights and events you've run, you would not be continuing today if you hadn't moved with the times and from mistakes and from success. And you know, it's so and if anyone who doesn't believe they can learn and improve and grow, no matter how long they do it, if they don't believe it, they're a fool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And obviously drag is, as we both know, very expensive. And you have to prepare so many looks going on the show. So does it feel painful not being given a chance to show them all off yet, all your looks?
Well, I've done like a beautiful photo series for the whole season. So I'm really like it's with Greg Bailey of All Right Darling, who is just local to Brighton, one of my favourite people and photographers. And every picture is art. And it was as hard as it was to go, oh my God, and looking at all these cases of things and going, that's not gonna be on the show. But you know, what's better? Being on the same runway as everyone else, or every single outfit having its own unique setup and art piece. You know what I mean? I still get to show it in the best light and the light that I wanted to.
Everything's going to get its moment.
Yes. As soon as Bimini sent me home, I was like, I felt like a connection made. It's like, and when I got home, in fact, when I was leaving, the first thing I thought was like, I hope Bimini is okay. I mean, I guess it depends how you're wired. But like, you know, I would never hold it against Bimini because it's not Bimini's choice. But my initial instinct was like, I hope Bimini doesn't blame herself. You know, and then again, I get back to episode 2 and she's like,
yeah. She's like, Joe who?
Joe Blue.
And if you had to put on a show with, say, 2 of the queens, like 3 of you together, who would it be?
I'm gonna go with Ginny Lemon.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're a very good match, and it has to be people from the season. Yeah, I'm gonna go for someone else who's live.
You and Ginny. That's a great double act.
I know. I'm hoping that we get to do the the Ginny and Joe tour at some point.
I am buying a ticket for that. That sounds amazing.
Ginny, I'm gonna say Tia just for some camp pop Eurovision nonsense. But Ginny, the first time I met Ginny, I'm sorry to keep going on about Ginny Lemon. The first time I ever met her was Brighton Pride. It was the year that Britney Spears was headlining.
Yes.
And then me and Ginny did the Queertown stage, which was the live music stage. And then afterwards, me, her, and Alfie Ordinary, completely still in full drag. I managed to blag us into the VIP pit for Britney by just lying to a series of security people at gates.
Yeah.
So imagine, if you will, me, Alfie Ordinary, and Ginny Lemon all in full drag.
It's already too much. So like
in a field in Brighton watching Britney Spears. Like, incredible.
That's camp. Was there a queen that you didn't see eye to eye with, do you feel?
No, I'm quite maybe it's naivety on my part, but I'm fairly agreeable with absolutely everybody. Yeah. You know, maybe like Bimini is like the most zen person I've ever met. So I think someone could headbutt her and she'd go, "Oh no, babe, I think the chakras are just out of line." Yeah. I mean, I wasn't there long enough to have disagreements with anybody. I'm one of these people that just smiles and goes, "Oh, isn't everybody wonderful?"
Yeah. Who would you have done for Snatch Game?
I auditioned with Mystic Meg.
Oh.
And Edith Piaf. There's somebody did Edith Piaf on Canada, Rita Baker did. But I brought, my main one that I brought was Tallulah Bankhead, who a lot of people go, who? Yeah. But she was an actress in the 30s who was banned from working in film because she was too outrageous. And she had this lovely, Kathleen Turner played her in a play. She has this kind of like raspy voice, darling. She called everybody darling. She couldn't remember anybody's names. You know, there's, smoke 4,000 cigarettes a day, chronic bronchitis, that kind of thing, And she was also part of a, very promiscuous group of bisexual women in Hollywood at the time. And I think, unsung queer icon.
What did you not get to reveal about yourself on the series that you wish you could have sort of had a chance to share with the nation?
I would have loved to do a musical, or I mean, I don't know if you're talking about on a personal level, but I mean, acting and music. Yeah, acting and music. I would have loved. I like acting stuff. I just love being the clown.
Yeah.
Hence why I pretended to be in the lip during the lip sync. You know what I mean? Like, I'm quite happy to make people feel awkward and like.
Oh, when you went down, when you were low.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed. I've never seen that before. I thought that was so fabulous.
Well, it was the thing. I was like, right, no one's pretended to be in the lift before. Maybe they've not pretended to be in the lift for a reason. I'm gonna do it. I just would have liked to have shown. I'm very set in my ways. This is the thing. I like what I like, and I prepared such a variety of looks for this, and I really went out of the box for myself. So I'm gutted I didn't get to show the range of what I brought.
What do you plan to do with the rest of your lockdown?
I thought you were going to say, what do you plan to do with the rest of your life?
Yeah.
I'm going to, I'm making lots of content. I have a Patreon, so I make content for that. I'll be doing YouTube stuff, engaging on socials, uploading all these beautiful photo shoots that I've done.
Yeah.
Just interacting with the people, and I'm not going to be quiet. I'm going to be playing along every week.
You're not going to be quiet. I know that.
No, I refuse.
And my final question, if at some point in the future they ever did an All-Stars, would you do it?
Let me wear some of these costumes for a little bit first, because they didn't get their gathering dust. So let me dust off the things I've prepared first, and then if they phone me, I'll think about it.
Yeah. We want to see more. We want to see more Joe Black. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for talking to me, Jodie.
Big love. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching Tea Time, served to you by Attitude Magazine and me, Jodie Harsh. Tune in next week for another cup of scalding hot content with Muggins here, as I'm joined by the latest queen to be given the pork chop. Bye!